Hello Jamaica! Today's program brings us to the end of the season of Centrally Speaking. It's been our pleasure educating you about the work and function of Jamaica's Central Bank, Bank of Jamaica.
Welcome viewers to the final program, final in this season, the 2021 series of Centrally Speaking, the program that opens up the conversation around important matters of economics and finance, matters of national importance that have an impact on your life. Well, viewers, as you know, we have covered so many topics this season. You know, we started with the general himself. You remember him? Govey. Governor Richard Biles. He told us about the bank's independence. Another major move for the bank was the launch of the Central Bank Digital Currency, CBDC. And our partners also joined us on set to share the details of the work that they're doing in the financial sector. Remember, we had Antoinette McCain of JDIC and Michael Leckie, the Small Business Association of Jamaica. And you remember Everton McFarlane, the Financial Services Commission.
On today's show, we'll be recapping some of the best moments of the season. But before we do that, we wanted to find out if you were really paying attention to the information we shared. Check out this pop quiz we did in the streets.
What's this?
What is Bank of Jamaica's inflation target? Is it A, 2 to 4%, B, 4 to 6%, C, 3 to 5%?
2 to 4%.
3 to 5, C? 3 to 5%. C.
Probably 2 to 4%.
Wow. C? Really not sure.
I'd say probably B. That's just a random guess.
Number 2. What does the abbreviation CBDC mean? Is it A, Central Bank Digital Charge? Is it B, Central Bank Digital Concept? Or is it C, Central Bank Digital Currency?
No, I have a question here.
You could repeat the question? Central Bank Digital Currency, C. Oh, C.
C, Central Bank Digital Currency.
Oh, that's your Central Bank Digital Currency. What? Yeah, I like what Jamaica is doing. I like what they're doing.
The Jamaica Deposit Insurance Corporation offers protection or coverage on your money up to A, 1.2 million Jamaica dollars, B, 1 million Jamaica dollars, or C, 600,000 Jamaica dollars.
C, 600,000. I want to say 1 million. B, 1 million.
A, 1.2 million.
A. 1.2 million.
Number 4. Which organization uses the Consumer Price Index to measure the average prices of consumer goods and services? Is it A, Statistical Institute of Jamaica? Is it B, Small Business Association of Jamaica? Or C, the Financial Services Commission?
The Financial Services Commission of Jamaica.
Small business B.
C, Financial Services of Jamaica.
A. Statistical Institute of Jamaica.
A, Statistical Institution of Jamaica.
Number 5. Which of the following is not the role of the Bank of Jamaica? Is it A, to formulate and implement monetary policy? Or B, to act as banker and financial agent of the government? Or C, to set the foreign exchange rate?
Yeah, B, to act as a financial...
To set the exchange rate of Jamaica. Set the exchange rate?
C. To set the exchange rate.
C, that's the least likely of them for me. Because the BOJ, the Bank of Jamaica, is the Bank of Jamaica. They do all the transactions with the international banks. That's their job.
Hey, I want to know the people in the streets are the real deal. They are the real stars of Centrally Speaking. I like how they answer them questions. So, we continue this special edition of Centrally Speaking with a recap of Season 3 with Govey.
Why was there a need for the bank to become independent? And how significant is this move?
Thank you. Well, we need to ask ourselves the question, what does independence mean?
Right.
It means that no Minister of Finance can instruct the Bank of Jamaica as to how to execute on monetary policy, nor on the supervision of the financial sector. And you may ask yourself the question, why is this so? Why is this necessary? Well, it's because we have had a history of high inflation, high interest rates, and economic instability. And so it was felt that the best way to manage this, independent of political decision making is to institutionalize the decisions around monetary policy and financial sector supervision. Hence the independence of the bank. So the Minister of Finance, he sets the interest rate corridor, and he does so after consultation with the Bank of Jamaica.
Right.
But essentially that's what he does, sets that corridor and he leaves us to execute on it. There's one other pillar of independence that the minister is currently working on, and that is the Independent Fiscal Council,
Okay.
which will take the budgetary side of things separate from the monetary and put it in the hands of an independent set of Jamaicans that will give objective advice as to whether the budget is on the right track and whether we are accomplishing our medium-term goals.
Will Bank of Jamaica now answer directly to the public, or will the minister still have that responsibility?
In a way, we answer direct to the people of Jamaica. Every year we have to write an annual report, which we must deliver before the budget is laid in the House. And every member of Parliament gets it and the minister gets it. They can ask any question they wish on it. Twice a year, we also send in a monetary policy report, which a minister is required to lay in Parliament, and Parliament will debate it, and they may invite Bank of Jamaica to Parliament and cross-examine us on what the policy has said.
Is Bank of Jamaica's independence a plus for Jamaica?
Oh yes, absolutely. It makes every Jamaican more assured that we will be operating our economy in a manner that is professional. All right, so it is the professionals, the economists in Bank of Jamaica who are going to be executing on our monetary policy and oversighting the financial system. No political pressure.
BOJ achieved independence on April 16, 2021.
Correct.
Are any major developments since that has happened?
Well, we have appointed a new board. So many of those from the old board continued, but we appointed some new ones. First of all, no government member can be on the board.
Okay.
So we got new independent Jamaicans, professionals.
And by independent, you mean they're not a part of the financial services sector?
They're not a part of the financial services sector. They don't work for the government.
Right.
Okay.
And they don't work for Bank of Jamaica.
Okay.
Okay.
But they are, in their profession,
Yes.
suited to sit on the board. Also, we named two new committees, the Monetary Policy Committee and the Financial Policy Committee. These committees have independent persons on it also. So apart from the senior professionals in Bank of Jamaica, they are independent Jamaicans outside of Bank of Jamaica, outside of the government, outside of the financial system that are sitting on these committees also.
Okay. So now that you have a monetary policy committee in place, share with us how this committee will make monetary policy decisions.
Right. So prior to April 16, the governor made those decisions. So the Bank of Jamaica
That's
would...
you.
Yes.
I made those
I made
decisions.
those decisions.
But I would have made them with the advice of the dozens of economists who work in the Bank of Jamaica. So there's a process that they go through that lasts for weeks, where they go through all the data and then they come to a final recommendation, and the governor would sign off on it.
Okay.
Now it's democratized. So it means that the Monetary Policy Committee, which consists of 3 internal senior members and myself as chair, and 2 independents, get together and we meet for over a 2-day period. And we discuss all of that data and go through the same process I would go through, except that everyone has a vote. Right? So all members of the committee have a vote to make. So it's not just my decision anymore.
Okay.
And that's a big difference between them. We have to publish that decision, and we also have to publish the minutes of that meeting.
Okay. Okay.
So, and that's brand new and, you know, a novel to Jamaica.
Welcome back to Centrally Speaking. You're watching a special edition of the program, a flashback show showing some of the highlights of the season. CBDC, does that mean anything to you? In August, BOJ minted its first batch of digital currency. Natalie Haynes, Deputy Governor at BOJ, filled us in on the details.
In March of this year, Minister Clark in his budget presentation announced some very big deals. All right, one of the big deals was that the government will be supporting BOJ's launch of a central bank digital currency. We could hear it across the country. Yeah, what that?
So central bank digital currency first is digital currency issued, of course, by a central bank,
Right.
backed by the central bank. Digital currency now is actually money in electronic form, digital form. So while you would have banknotes and coins in your pocket, what you will have now is money stored electronically, and you can use it via any digital means such as your cell phone.
Okay, so why would BOJ want to issue central bank digital currency?
All right, so Bank of Jamaica, as you said earlier, Minister Clark, the government is behind this whole digital transformation of Jamaica.
Right.
And Bank of Jamaica is going to be a part of that. We want for every citizen in Jamaica to have access to the formal financial system
Right.
and also financial services.
Okay.
And you know what that is called, right?
Right.
You know,
Yes, the
financial
inclusion,
Yes,
right,
financial
right.
So in support of that thrust, BOJ decided to launch its own central bank digital currency. And through this, each person will, as I say, have access to the formal system, and there will be no need for persons to rely strictly on physical notes and coins.
So is it an automatic process? You know, who can get
All
CBDC?
right. So every citizen
Yes.
in Jamaica, adult,
Yeah.
or even a child,
Right,
because I know
right.
parents would want it for their
Right,
children
right.
for convenience, will have access to get a CBDC wallet.
Right.
So what you do, if you're already a bank account holder, it's seamless. You
Right.
just go to your bank at the appointed time to say, I'm interested in having a CBDC wallet. If you're not yet in the formal banking system, you approach the bank or a payment service provider to get the CBDC wallet, and I can tell you it will be much, much simpler than opening a bank account, because the simplified customer due diligence, which
Which it-
emanates from the amendments to POCA,
Right,
that's your, you know
right.
what POCA is,
Yes.
Proceeds of Crime Act.
Right.
So all you would need to give is your name, address, date of birth, your TRN, and of course, a valid government-issued ID, such as your passport, driver's license, or the voter's ID.
Another hot topic this season was inflation. Lead economist at BOJ, Robert Stennett, explained monetary policy, what is inflation, and the factors that influence inflation. Have a look.
My niece, Essie, is 7 years old.
Yes.
So if I were to explain inflation to her, how would I do so?
Well, inflation in its simplest form exists when the price of a set of goods and services that are consumed by the typical person in the society goes up. So that is how the central bank defines inflation. I think it's easy to imagine in explaining it to your niece, of a basket consisting of some goods like rice, flour,
Yeah.
chicken,
Yeah.
and some services,
Yeah.
which
Right.
includes electricity, rent, transportation fees. Over a period, the price of these commodities are going to be changing. So what inflation reflects is the change in that average price in today relative to what that price was some time ago. Now the trick about inflation is that in that basket, some prices are going to be going up and some prices are going to be going down. So you will not necessarily see a large change in this measure that is called inflation, because it reflects the average of these prices. So in short, inflation really relates to the average change in a fixed amount of goods and services that the typical consumer purchases per time period.
Why does the bank focus on inflation targeting and not on the exchange rate?
Sheena, that's an excellent question. Inflation represents the increase or increases in the cost of living of the average consumer.
Right.
The exchange rate represents increases, or it signals increases in the cost of living for just a narrow set of commodities.
Okay.
It's just one price, and it affects only those prices that are imported. So in our view, it's important to focus our attention on all prices, which is better captured by the inflation rate rather than the exchange rate, which captures just one price in its first instance, and then only those prices that are imported are going to be affected by the exchange rate ultimately. So it's a more narrow measure than the one that we focus on.
There are some persons, though, who disagree with us. They would say that, no man, Mr. Stennett, but me shop online. And when we go on Amazon last week, the rate of 150, this week at 155. Thing them a go up. No, Mr. Stennett. When my people them send money for me, you know, a little money when me I get it, I go down. No, Mr. Stennett, you talk about, but this is what I am experiencing. What would you say to, by the way, that is my kind of person.
I would say that the experience of every individual is going to be different. There's no two individuals in a society that consume the same pattern of goods.
Right.
The central bank is concerned about everybody, but it has to watch one metric.
Right.
And that metric has to be what is representative of the average person. So you're going to have some people who are hurt more by the exchange rate than others, but when you take it across the average person, then the inflation rate is by far the most important metric to manage.
Whether you're a small farmer, street vendor, big investor, every entrepreneur, you got to wise up about your money. You have to make sure say your money secure. When you need to grow, you have access to more.
Financial inclusion means that individuals and businesses have access to useful and affordable financial products and services that meet their needs.
Access to more money, more credit, whatever your business needs. When you work hard for your money must work for you.
You're watching the best program on TV, but not Ox Christ, Centrally Speaking. Season 3, the final episode. We're talking about the work of the Bank of Jamaica, and we're doing recaps of this season's episode. Now, Bank of Jamaica's work would not be possible without our stakeholders. The Small Business Association of Jamaica is one of those organizations that help to drive the economy. Michael Leckie, president of the association, was one of our guests this season. Sheena.
Yep.
You know what I remember about that program? What was significant?
What was significant?
When Michael shared that the MSME sector contributes 13% to GDP.
Mm-hmm.
Never know.
Yeah,
really,
I think we learned a lot in that session.
Man. Yeah, man. I really hope our viewers learned a lot from that episode. Mm-hmm. But just in case you missed it, here's a look back.
Tell us a little bit about the Small Business Association of Jamaica and its role in ensuring that entrepreneurs form a part of this association.
Well, the Small Business Association started in 1972. It really is for advocacy for businesses within the sector of the micro, small, and medium-sized businesses. And the aim really is to make sure we have a voice out there, make sure that the small businesses is part of the economy and it can drive growth for the Jamaica economy. What has happened throughout the years, a number of changes has started to happen. Business has changed, so the Small Business Association also has to make those changes. And throughout the years, a number of persons have been calling on the small business for a voice. So what we at the association do, since I've been president, October of
a voice to the government?
To the government,
especially?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happened, the government now comes to us at all times for suggestion what is happening within the sector,
right?
So they can actually make the adjustment. So we have all of these groups from the different parishes who brings the information to us, and now we pass it on to the government.
The continuation of the pandemic that started in 2020, a lot of these businesses have been affected in some way or the other. So naturally, I think that the vision for the SBAJ has had to change or adjust. So what is the vision, especially for 2021 onwards?
What has happened, there's a new buzzword about pivoting.
Right.
And that is the key, you know. And what is happening, a number of the makeup of small business is really family-owned and an older type of persons.
Right.
And it's difficult for them to make that change.
Right.
So what is happening, the association now has to step up its educational drive to make sure now that, listen, we make a start by, as small as it is, to show them to listen, we can do this. We have to now go and embrace technology, because no longer brick and mortar is there. Nobody's walking into stores because we're talking about the pandemic and the social distancing. So what is happening now? We have to now go online to make this possible.
What has the SBAJ done specifically to broaden the financial knowledge of its members?
As part of the vision, like I said, the educational drive, which is assisted again by MIIC. So what is happening now? We put open our membership to two things, either financing or grant funding. But the thing about small businesses is that we are 13% of the Jamaica's GDP.
Okay, that's significant.
That is a significant amount.
Yes, and we decided that, listen, we not be taken for granted. So we are even the drivers of the economy. And anytime small businesses fail, the economy fails.
When it comes to protecting your savings, the Jamaica Deposit Insurance Corporation has you covered. And remember, their tagline is JDIC, protecting deposits for you and for me. Here is what CEO of the organization, Antoinette McCain, had to say.
JDIC was formed in 1998 to protect depositors who had deposits in our banking system. And our banking system, let me just define that for our audience, are the commercial banks, the merchant banks, and the building societies. So depositors in those institutions, your deposits are protected by the Jamaica Deposit Insurance Corporation.
So I noticed you didn't say credit unions. That's not included.
Credit unions are deposit-taking institutions in Jamaica, and they're a very important part of the framework of our financial system. But at this time, JDIC does not cover the deposits in credit unions. If credit unions come under the regulation of the Bank of Jamaica, then JDIC will cover credit unions in the same way that it covers the deposits in commercial banks, merchant banks, and building societies.
I remember the last time you came, it was 600,000. What is the new limit?
The new limit for each depositor is $1,200,000. So we have doubled the coverage limit at August 31st, 2020.
Define who is a depositor.
Yes.
And what categories of accounts does this cover?
Yes. So depositors are persons who have savings accounts in the commercial banks, merchant banks, and building societies. Your depositors. So your deposit account can be just a savings account, a checking account is a deposit account. Also, even if you have a time deposit, you know, a deposit that you put to mature at a period in the future, that's also covered by deposit insurance. Yes. So those are depositors in our banking system.
Based on what I hear you explaining, if I have, for example, 200,000, you know, little bit of money, and and the bank fails, a deposit-taking institution fails, I will get back my 200,000.
Full 200,000 you would get back. That's
All
correct.
Then
From the JDIC, yes.
Then suppose somebody like Sheena will have like 3 million. She just get back
maybe 5 million.
You know, just get back 1.2.
Sheena would be able to get from the JDIC $1.2 million on that account that she has. Now, of course, then you would ask, so what happened to the rest of her money?
I was about to ask.
And what would happen is that the bank, if it fails, it would go into what we call liquidation,
Right.
which is just where you get the assets together and try to pay out the liabilities. So Sheena would possibly, if there are enough assets, be able to get back that balance that was not covered by the deposit insurance, that balance that is more than $1,200,000.
So using the example, she has 3 million, she gets back 1.2 from JDIC, but if the bank is liquidated sufficiently, she'll get back the 1.7
she may be able to
or
get back
1.8. 1.8,
or a portion, thereof, depending on the assets of the bank.
There is a thrust to ensure that Jamaicans participate in banking services. What would you say to encourage Jamaicans to open accounts and assure them that they can trust the bank that they have started those accounts with?
Having bank accounts, savings accounts in particular, is a good way to, just generally save your money instead of having it just in your home under a mattress or in a jar.
Right.
So you can save there. As well, you can make payments to other persons quite easily there. And in fact, because of the increase in electronic banking, it's even that much easier. You can do those transactions on your telephone.
Okay.
And it's safe because those deposits, those savings that you have in the bank are covered by the Jamaica Deposit Insurance Corporation up to that maximum of $1,200,000.
Sheena, 13 weeks go by fast, though.
Indeed, and we have taken our viewers on a Central Bank University journey.
I hope you've been learning.
Yes, and it was good keeping your company every Thursday.
Every Thursday.
We are now at the end of Season 3, Centrally Speaking, and we'd like to say a special thank you to a few key stakeholders without whom this would not have been possible. And I want to start with our production team. Production team, big up on yourself.
Our executive producer,
Noel Greenland. And importantly, our guests.
Yes.
Our guests, they graced us with their presence and their intellect throughout the season.
Yes, and shared a lot of great information.
And insights.
Right. Thank you to the external and the Bank of Jamaica guests.
We want to say a special big up also to Natalia Golden, Simply Beautiful. She made us Simply Beautiful.
And at the same time, we big up with makeup artist.
Yes.
Jody and Ramsey.
Yes, Jody.
Artist Jody. Every week we cute. And
importantly, our BOJ family, we could not have done this without your support. BOJ, big on up. Big on up or big up on yourself?
Big up on yourself.
Big up on yourself. Our friends.
Every week,
those WhatsApp, those texts, messages.
Who watch us every week and tune in. Don't miss an episode.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And
Miss
importantly,
Patsy.
yes, Judith Anthony Owen. And importantly, all our viewers for tuning in each and every week.
For those who see us on the streets and say, we see you, we watch the show.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the support. You can continue to keep the link with us on Twitter at Central Bank JA or on Bank of Jamaica's Facebook page or the YouTube channel. Remember, all the episodes are uploaded to YouTube. You can watch them if you will. You can also visit our website at boj.org.jm.
We also invite you to send your questions on Twitter or Facebook.
And of course, what's Centrally Speaking next year though? All next year, when the new season begins.
I'm Sheena.
And I'm Anna.
See you next year. Centrally Speaking is a production of Bank of Jamaica.